Hi, James. I'm going to show you an example of a KSP question. It's not exactly the one in your assignment, but I'll show you this one. It's the same kind of question, so it's going to help you do that question. So the question I'm going to give you actually is involving calcium fluoride, and the KSP for calcium fluoride is 5.3 times 10 to the negative 9. And like the question that you sent me, we're going to want to know what is the concentration of calcium ions at equilibrium. Okay, so essentially the first thing we have to do is write out a balanced equation for this. So we have calcium fluoride solid, and it is going to dissolve and produce calcium ions and fluorine ions. So these will be aqueous, floating around in water, and it's really important that we balance. So I'm going to need a 2 here. And then we're going to use an ice table and fill in what we can. So we haven't been given an initial concentration for our calcium fluoride. I'm just going to put a little question mark there. It turns out we're not going to need it, but we'll just put a question mark. And of course, when we start, all we have is solid calcium fluoride, so these are 0. Okay, the change that happens is however much calcium fluoride we had, it's going to decrease by some amount x. As it dissolves, the solid is actually going to decrease by some amount we don't know. And of course, our ions are going to increase by that amount as well. So the calcium ions increasing by x, and the fluorine's actually increasing by 2x, because for every 1 calcium fluoride, we get 1 calcium ion and 2 fluorine ions. So we put a 2x there. So at equilibrium, the concentration of calcium fluoride solid is whatever it was minus some amount. The calcium ion is x, and the fluorine ion is 2x. Okay, so what we're actually looking for, remember, is the equilibrium concentration of our calcium. So we really want to know what x is. That's where the KSP value is going to help us. So we're going to set up an equilibrium expression for this equilibrium. So we want concentration of reactants over concentration of products always. So our products over reactants. So our products are the calcium ion and then the fluorine ion. Remember, the fluorine ion, because it has a 2 here, we need to square it. Now our reactants, here's our reactant. Notice that it is a solid. We never include solids in equilibrium expressions, so we actually don't even need that. So we have concentration of calcium ion and fluorine ion, and because this is a solid dissolving in water, instead of putting an E for equilibrium there, we actually usually put SP. Okay, so that's why it's a KSP question. The KSP we've been given is 5.3 times 10 to the negative 9. So let's fill in these guys. Calcium is x. The fluorine is 2x. And of course it's all squared. 5.3 times 10 to the negative 9. And then we just have to solve for x, which sometimes is really simple and sometimes isn't. So in this case, it's in between, actually. So let's see, 5.3 exponent 9, and we want the cube root. To find this on my calculator is, oh sorry, I just wanted to divide by 4. Exponent 9 divided by 4 is 1 times 10 to the negative, make sure I get it right. Yep, 9. And then I'm going to get the cube root of that. Okay, so I have 1.1 times 10 to the negative 3 is my value of x. Now, once I get to this point, it turns out for us in this question, that's actually what we were asked for. So this would be the concentration of calcium ion at equilibrium. But you just have to be careful. Sometimes what you're being asked for is perhaps the equilibrium concentration of the other ion, which does not equal X. So often you solve for X, and then you might use it to find, the value of fluorine at equilibrium. Okay, so that's a very common KSP type question, and I hope that helps.